Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to access the WCAS Practice tests, some of the universal tools within the testing environment, some of the specific item types, and some of the item tools that you can use. Okay, so most of your students should have this app downloaded on their device. It's the Air Secure test. It's what they use for IAB tests and for SBA. So when you open that app, students usually log in with the test session ID. For the practice test, you want them to click this gray box in the left-hand side to go to practice and training tests. It will give them a guest user, guest session, and they click sign in at the bottom. Now you want your student to select a grade. For science, it doesn't really matter what grade they select. All of the science tests will be available to them. So if I select 8th grade, I can scroll all the way down and I have access to the grade 5 science test, grade 8 science test, or grade 11 science test. If I open the grade 8, it runs through the universal tools that I can toggle on or off. I recommend students leave all of those on. Just hit the green select button at the bottom. Now hit begin test now. It will give a warning saying that we're going to lock in this app. Click yes. Students are used to this from IAB testing and SBA testing. So this is the testing system. You can notice at the top are universal tools. These are available for any item. So a student can click the periodic table and a periodic table will pop up. When the student clicks calculator, this is the calculator they have access to. The line reader lets them read the passage or the stimulus line by line. So for some of your students who struggle with reading, this is a great tool to let them know that exists, so they can carefully and closely read all of the prompts and questions. A student also, if they're visually impaired and want to zoom in on the question or just make the font bigger, they can use the zoom in button because the 2-finger pinch to zoom does not work in the app. They can also zoom out. So this first question is a drag and drop question, asking students to rank and order a list of items. So you do need to click or tap and drag. Notice that when I go over a box, it turns dark blue. If I release, the item drops into that box. If I am between 2 boxes and release, the item goes back to my list. If I try to put an item where an item already exists, it won't fall in there. I have to first remove the item before I can put a different item in. Okay, the next item on this first page is a table entry or table select. Have students experiment with this. Hopefully they notice that they can only put one checkbox per line, but they can have multiple checkboxes in the same column. Students know how to advance to the next question, but it's up here in the left corner, and it's next. This question, notice this green padlock, is a locking question. Once I go beyond this question, I cannot come back and change my answer to this question. That's important to point out to students. I also have 2 buttons here. I can expand my stimulus and it makes the stimulus come over so that I can read it, and it takes up the full screen. I click the left arrow, and it collapses back down to the 60-40 ratio. If I click the left arrow again, it expands my question. The 3 bars, I now have stimulus tools and item tools. So my stimulus tool, if I select something, a question or a phrase, click on my stimulus tool, I can highlight that question or phrase. My item tools, I can go into a tutorial which will show me how to answer this item. I can mark an item for review, or I can take notes on the item. Again, have students experiment with building a model in the test environment. And now that I've hit the next button, it says that that item will lock. The reason it locks is because it now gives me the completed correct model. The other thing to make sure students are aware of is a glossed word. So it's hard to see this light dotted line around the word shows. If I click on shows, it gives me the glossary definition. So glossed words are going to be non-content words, but they're designed to help students make better sense of the question and the prompt. We have another table entry, and this is a part A and B. A multiple select or multiple choice. For part B, notice that I can only click one choice. It won't let me select more than one. Because I have a multiple select or multiple choice item, I also have the strike through tool. Strike through lets me eliminate distractors. And they remain with the line through them. I can still select one of those as my final answer, but it's just a test-taking strategy that we can use and to make students aware of. If a student tries to move to the next question without answering a question, they will get a prompt that they must go back and answer all questions before moving on. This is another drag and drop. We have another glossed word here for grasping. It locked because it now gave me the definition or the correct model. And I have drop-down boxes to choose from. Here's a nice extended response question where students need to choose one mutation and then describe that effects. Okay, so I can only choose one of those bubbles, and I must type something in the box before I can move on to the next question. So it says that I've answered all the test items, so I can end my test and submit. We're going to take a look at the 11th grade items as well quickly. So this first item is a numerical entry. So if I try to put in a letter, it won't let me. So have students experiment with these. How many numbers can they put in? How many will fit in the box? And then using those drop downs. Here's a stimulus that has a video attached. So the items are designed that all of the information is provided in the stimulus or in the item prompt. So make sure students know to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the stimulus to get all of the information. Okay. Here's another type of entry, table entry. Followed by multiple choice items. I highly recommend letting students go into the test as a guest and look at the tools, stress to them that it's not important to get the answers right or wrong at this point in time, but just to get a feel for the environment and the supports that are available to them. As a teacher, I highly recommend going through the different types of items in all 3 grade levels, grade 5, 8, and 11, to show your students the different types of items and how to answer those types of items. If you have any questions, please reach out, let me know, and I have confidence that if you spend a little bit of time, your students will be very successful on this assessment in the next month. Thanks.